Hi everybody, and welcome back to Franklin Cattle Farms. Today on the channel, we have a very special treat. This is a Springfield M2 training rifle. Of course, being a training rifle, it is chambered in .22 long rifle instead of 30-06, even though it looks like its bigger brother. This rifle was a development of the original M1922 Springfield, developed in part by the M1 inventor, John Garand, and of course Springfield Armory. These guns were originally designed to be training rifles, and mainly to be training rifles and to be used in competition, along with ROTC shooting competitions and among other things. This particular rifle is fitted with a factory Lyman Model 48B rear sight. It has a 30 thousandths diopter. It's very small, obviously. It also has a standard 1903 Springfield front sight post covered up with a standard 1903 Springfield front sight hood. Those of you who don't think you can shoot a Springfield with the front sight hood on, well, you can. So this particular one is a excellent example of the design, and it's actually very heavy. Believe it or not, this weighs more than a standard 1903 Springfield, considering the fact that the barrel is underbored from a standard 30 caliber barrel. As you can see, it's not exactly the lightest. The receiver itself is actually very heavily based on the 1903 Springfield itself, and so is the bolt. However, it only uses one locking lug instead of the 1903's two with its third safety lug. As you can see, the forging here is nearly identical to that of a 1903 Springfield. However, the milling is different, and there is no provision for a stripper clip guide in this receiver, and the entire base and raceway for the bolt cannot be, is not open in order to accept a 30-06 cartridge. It is, however, milled to accept a much smaller 22 caliber magazine. As you can see, it's a standard 1903 Springfield style floor plate with a grooved trigger. This one has the grooves in the bottom as well. It's very nice. The trigger has been gone through by somebody at the armory. Since this is the M2 model, it has an adjustable headspace feature. If you can see that little dark spot right there in the locking lug itself, that's actually to adjust the headspace. Believe it or not, that little dark spot is a little puck of lead that's been driven into there by the armorer after adjusting the headspace finally. This on the left side of the bolt is actually the ejector. This comes back to hit the magazine cutoff, or what would be the magazine cutoff on an actual 1903, in order to eject the spent case. If you can see that moving up and down right there. The bolt, or the firing pin, is actually offset inside the bolt face in order to be more effective with the setup that the Springfield had. As I said before, this one has a Lyman Model 48B rear sight. It is graduated in half MOA graduations with a small little locking collar right there. We were just doing some shooting here at 200 yards with this rifle, shooting some of this Federal Auto Match, which it seems to really like. Shoots that stuff real well, and at 200 yards it will hold its own with its larger cousin. It'll actually probably outshoot a Springfield with iron sights at that range. Now, let's see, who wants to do some shooting? Here we are back. Like I said, we're going to do some shooting at 200 yards. Now, I'm going to remind you here, this is a 22. This is not a 30-06. So, those of you who want to tell me I should wear ear protection, well, don't tell me that. It's a 22. Now, I do apologize for the cloud cover. It is winter here in the mountains, and well, the Weather Channel's all right, but they can't predict everything. Let's load up 5 rounds here, and let's see if we can't hit 200 yards. Now, we do have a camera set up downrange, and it should be doing an all right job of catching our impacts here. Let's see if we can't shoot a group. Now, one interesting fact about this rifle is the magazine I'm holding. This magazine is roughly a $200 magazine. So, I keep this thing in my sight at all times. Let's see what we can do. There's a hit. I do hope you guys can hear that in the video. There's another hit. And another. As you can see, this bolt is incredibly smooth. This is by far the smoothest 22 bolt I have ever worked. It almost approaches a Craig Jorgensen as far as smoothness goes. Let's see if we can't make another hit. There's one. One more. Oh, I just clipped it. Well, let's load up 5 more. Like I said, this bolt is incredibly smooth, and this sight is incredibly precise. I actually have this dialed in to compensate for 25 MOA of drop, and that seems to get me on target at 200. I do apologize if my group isn't as impressive as I told you guys it would be, since I am, well, behind the camera, or in front of the camera rather. Let's see, there's 5 rounds. One of my favorite features of this magazine is this little pull tab. Pull tab in order to pull down the follower in order to load cartridges easier. Every 22 magazine should have that, and only the older guns do. Now, the only 22 that I've come across that compares directly with this gun is a CZ. And for the most part, the CZ 452 and 455 series will get you kind of close. However, nothing in the modern gun world will come close to this. It's just one again, one of those old world rifles that will never be produced again. And in order to produce it, it would cost thousands of dollars, and thousands of dollars. Let's see what this thing can do. There's a hit. And another hit. And another. You can see I'm just working this bolt with 2 fingers. You can hit 200 yards easily. Just clipped that one. Believe it or not, we're shooting this video at 200 yards because, well, frankly, with this rifle, shooting it at 50 gets kind of boring. So, why not shoot it at 200? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and, well, I'm sure we'll have this thing back on the channel at some point in time. And, well, we'll probably have some more videos up with this upload. So, join us next time on Franklin Cattle Farms.